Morning all. My name is Gina McCarthy. I was the proud administrator of the United States Environmental Protection Agency under President Barack Obama. You remember President Barack Obama. Before that, I spent 30 years working in government. Lots of governors in Massachusetts, 5 of them I work for, Republicans and Democrats, and I have been dealing and addressing and trying to move forward to address the challenge of climate change for decades. I know the risks, I know the urgency for action, and best of all, I know today that we have opportunities to actually protect our children's future. Why? Because of renewable energy. Clean energy is where it's at if you care about climate change, if you care about clean air, if you care about keeping money in your pockets, in your pocketbooks, and if you care about having a smile on your face because you're doing the right thing. And right now, the time for solar is here. We know that solar energy has reduced its hardware cost 80% over the last 8 years. We know that we have installed in the past 2 years more solar energy than we've ever installed in this country, all told. And we know that in the next 5 years, the solar industry is projected to triple its capacity. But the challenge is that solar is now still too much of a niche market. It needs a new revolutionized business model so that everybody can access it everywhere in every community. And Solstice is that model. It's going to shake up the solar industry, and it's going to make clean energy work for all of us, not just some of us. So please welcome Solstice.
My name is Steph Speirs, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Solstice. So for the first time in the history of America, solar is cheap enough that it can help everyone in this room save money on your electricity bills. There's just one problem. This is Paula, and she's a school teacher out in Natick, Massachusetts, and she's a customer. She said that ever since she heard her neighbor was installing solar on their home, she wanted solar too. But she can't put solar on her own rooftop, and she's not the only one. Because 80% of America is locked out of the solar market because they can't put a system on their own home. Maybe they're a renter, maybe they're a condo owner, maybe there's a tree covering their roof, maybe their roof is facing the wrong way, but they're locked out of solar savings. And the solar industry will never reach its growth potential. The good news is there's a solution out there, and it's called community solar. So community solar means you don't have to worry about installing anything on your rooftop. You can buy a portion of a neighborhood shared solar farm and switch to solar that way. There's no upfront cost, and you save 10% off your electricity bill every single year. You can think of it like a community garden, but for solar. And innovation in this industry is focused around the product. But Solstice's innovation is to think about the customer. How do you put solar in the hands of customers faster? How do you make it so easy and so frictionless that signing up for solar spreads to the mainstream? And we do this by bringing the two sides of the solar marketplace together. So on the supply side, you have project developers who are really good at building and financing solar farms. There are a ton of these people, but they have no desire in talking to and managing hundreds of customers at a time. They're desperate for a solution that will help them lower their customer acquisition costs. And on the demand side, you have people that want to save money on their electricity bills, but have no idea that community solar exists. People like Paula and her friends and neighbors and her school, and even the corporation in her town. Solstice connects entire communities to a supply of solar gardens. And not only are we connecting supply and demand, but we're creating supply and demand, because the financing for these projects doesn't come through until you line up the customers. And it turns out there's incredible value in creating this market. Our software takes care of the whole customer experience for community solar. People can go online, they can assess their options, they can enroll easily, they can manage their account and pay their bills, and they can see how their solar share is doing, and they can share that activity with their friends and neighbors. This isn't just software as a service. This is solar as a service. And when you unlock this new class of customers, you make big growth. And we know this because we know one thing to be true. The number one reason why anyone in America today signs up for solar is because they have a friend or a neighbor that signed up for solar. So solar is contagious in our personal networks, yet no business has leveraged this insight until today. And this isn't hypothetical either. We've worked on 9 projects throughout Massachusetts, we're expanding to New York, and we have a list of 1,000 customers that want community solar. And we're enrolling the 2 biggest corporations in this country into local community solar farms. Our work has been featured by Forbes and Fast Company, and we've received funding from Obvious Ventures and the Department of Energy. And it's actually the Department of Energy that said shared solar is going to be a $16 billion industry by 2020. And our addressable market is $2 billion of that. And when you make it this easy for customers to sign up for solar, you can grow quickly. We will sign up 150,000 customers for solar in the next 5 years. We've watched this industry double each of the last few years we've been working on it. And community solar is the future, and more companies are going to enter this space. But to be successful in this business, you need 3 things. You need to know communities, you need to know energy policy, and you need to have technology that scales. Our team learned community organizing on the Obama campaign. We did energy policy at the White House, and we're taking MIT technology and using it to put solar in the hands of every American. I actually used to work in India and Pakistan on renewable energy, and I didn't realize that I didn't have to be halfway across the world to work on energy access issues that mattered. Because here in America, there's a problem too. And I was raised by a single mom, and she spent her whole life worried about paying the bills. And I watched her, and I realized it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Every American can be powered by solar. We believe this, and we will make it happen, and it will be a big business. We're imagining an America that's filled with solar panels, and it doesn't matter what type of roof you have, and it doesn't matter your income. And with your help, we will get there. So thank you.